No, don't adjust your computer audio. That's what I was dealing with. And now, this is what I have. Let me show you how I got there. So let's first go over some of the easiest things that you can do. And then I'll work out to kind of where I am right now. So one of the first things that you probably want to try if you've got a ground issue is changing the power source. Make sure that any of your components are all plugged into the same plug and they're into the same power bar, whatever the case is. And if you have anything else plugged in on that same circuit, computers are notorious for it. Stuff like aquarium fans, you want to get them off of that same power or off that same outlet network. Sometimes you might have one power plug or 10 power plugs in a room or 5 or whatever it is, but they're all hooked up to the same breaker. So if possible, try to get your home audio onto the same or on its own exclusive power network right back to your breaker box. So that's the first thing I tried. Did not fix it for me. Second thing you want to do, make sure that all of your devices, take one power bar and plug your amp, your whatever receiver, everything into that plug. So that's probably another thing where you're going to pick up some ground noise, is if you have one on one electrical circuit and another device on a different electrical circuit. So if you can, make them exclusive, that they're both or all your audio home theater devices are on the same breaker. All right, so the next thing you can try, if you've tried that and that doesn't help you at all, take an extension cord, run it to different plugs throughout your house, run that through your power bar or your power splitter for your home theater, and see if there's a different breaker or a different power source or a different set of wiring to see if it's something in your internal house wiring that's picking up that ground noise. That's another thing that you can try. I know if you find a solution and the breaker or the plug ends up being way somewhere else, then it might be an electrician that's involved in kind of figuring that out. So I tried all of the steps that I just told you, and none of those worked for me. So here is some more things that I tried, and then I'll finally get to the solution of how I fixed this ground hum. You can also take a wire and connect it from both receiver grounds, and hopefully that'll fix your ground issue, and that's how I stumbled across my solution. So while I was playing around with this cable, this is how I stumbled across the fix that worked for me. I actually connected an RCA cable from my Marantz receiver component in to just an empty plug. And the reason I figured that out is I accidentally nudged this wire when I was trying just to see if it was grounding or it wasn't grounding properly on the case. Anyway, so it goes from the component in to an unused input on my Rotel. Just another RCA cable that's completely unused, but it completely just killed any pickup sound at all that I'm getting through my speakers. It's totally dead silent. It's so good, in fact, that older recordings, if I've got the volume loud, I can actually hear when they're turning on and off the audio pickup for the singer's microphone. I can pick that up now. I would have never heard that before. Anyway, it cleaned it right up. There's no distortion, no feedback. So that's what did the ticket for me. I don't know why it works. I don't care why it works. All I know is it works. So my component into just any empty jack on the back of my Rotel that's unused. Now, heaven forbid you ever turn them on. I don't know what that would do, if that would wreck anything. So you do it at your own risk. But I mean, ground issues suck, and I'm sure somebody else can benefit from this knowledge. So that's what worked for me. Another thing that you can pick up as well, you can get the RCA ground loop eliminators. Now, I didn't try that. The method that I'm telling you about here cost me nothing. I did put an input like that into my car. It did have a ground noise, and that did work inside my car, so that might work for some as well. And one final thing, actually two more. You can also get a ground noise eliminator device that goes kind of between the plug of your receiver power cord and the power source of your receiver. I've heard that works as well. And then last but not least, if nothing else works for you, or if just money's no object and you just want the cleanest possible power, there is ground loop isolator devices. I will leave them in the link below, and they completely will take whatever junk signal that you're getting from your power company, and or maybe it's from your internal house wiring acting as an antenna, whatever the case is. They will take that completely out and just leave you with a clean power source to power your receivers. And especially when you're dealing with, higher end audio components, ground noises, you really start to hear them in a big way. Anywho, hopefully that helped. Hopefully that somebody else can benefit from this information. And let me know if it's fixed a ground loop issue for you. I'd love to know. I've had this one for a long time, and I quite literally sat down here and just brute forced it. I spent a good 5-6 hours just playing with this until I finally got my ground noise thing figured out. So now that the ground noise is gone, I think it's time to do another reading of my current speaker setup, and I've kind of tweaked the crossover again on my 3-way combo, whatever you want to call that. So I will leave the results of that test using the UMic 2. That video will show up on the side here as soon as that one is done. That's what's next.